Okay, Slaughtneil Camogie's Shannon, Aoife, Therese, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
So, I kind of caught yous blindsided. Yous have been going mad at me because I put the video up always there, and yous have just finished training. How did your session go this morning?
Yeah, really good.
Good. Yous are so much quieter now than like 5 minutes ago. Yous didn't shut up, and now yous are a wee bit quieter.
Action. No, training was real good.
Good.
The week, it was the last sort of daylight session before the match next Sunday, so we'll try to make the most of it. Sunday morning trainings for us are normally quite sleepy at the start, and it takes us a while to get into it. Sunday morning because they're normally early starts, but
it's nice and intensive this morning. I think everybody's trying to make the most of what the training
is. That like match stuff, or is it tactical now, or?
It's more match-based stuff. Match-based stuff at the minute, and more match-based stuff. But it's high intensity. That's the thing. Like this past week and a half, 2 weeks, the intensity of them picked up in the lead up to the match.
Yeah, and how many days is training down there for that? Like, is a couple of days a week?
3 times a week. It's always really been 3 times a week. Close to the championship. Way at the start, maybe it was only. Well, way at the start it was only league really. It was only going out before the matches because it's such a long season. The league starts. We finished in March and the league starts in April. So at the very start of this year, it was only going out to play the league matches, and then it would increase to a training in the league, and then now obviously coming in the lead up to championship, it's 3 times a week on pitch.
So you won last year in March, and then you are straight away again in April, and you have been playing all the way through. Really no breaks either, like. No.
That kind of was our break. So when we won All Ireland, the league kind of started quite soon after. So we didn't really train. We just went out and played the matches, and it was good to enjoy the matches as well.
Not as much pressure.
Yeah, it's just about really getting playing the matches.
Like, is there a fear that if you go out and you aren't training, like, do you expect that you can just carry through and win games in the league, or do you just not have as much emphasis on the league?
At the start, the league would have been very important. Like, it was very important, because it's always in the lead up to the championship. But
some of the senior girls needed rest, so some of the senior players didn't come out and play the initial games. Just give the younger ones an opportunity to come out and play, and you got a bit of a rest. I take every game seriously, so I don't enjoy getting beat at any stage. But I suppose you could say that the league, you don't take it quite as seriously. The championship is the main event. So we weren't too concerned this year. It was first time in 3 years since we lost the league. Slaughter beat us in a game, but again we were missing a couple of players and that. So you need that time, mentally as well as physically, I think, to just get a bit of rest.
How competitive is that area league and championship? Is it competitive, or is there like 2 or 3 teams? Because I know the senior hurling, like, you have probably 2 or 3 teams that are competitive. Is it like that in the Camogie as well, or is it like 5 or 6, 10 teams, they're all good?
There's only 5 teams competing this year in the senior, I think, with Coleraine going down into Division 2, but it's getting closer. You have to give credit to the teams like Ballinscreen and Slaughtneil, that they've put in tremendous work, and every year when we go to play them, you can see they've improved immensely. Like, I think a lot of Camogie teams now are putting so much effort into the physicality of the sport and the strength and conditioning. You can really see that coming through. So they're definitely getting tighter. But
are you doing much gym work then yourselves outside of the pitch work?
So we have a program that we follow. We have the option of following a program. So we would go in, say, like a 6-week or 8-week program, and then it would change, and it changes depending on what time of the year
what's
it is.
going on game wise and stuff
coming up. So we'd be expected maybe to do a lower body or an upper body session then, like twice a week.
So you're doing the 3 pitch sessions and probably 2 gym sessions as well. And is that hard to fit that all in, or?
Well, I suppose we get into a wee routine as well, so we have another day set aside to go into the gym.
And you are probably all at the point now where, like, it's not where you have to drag people. You all probably want to do the gym work as well.
You have to buy into it, like, because the game is more physical nowadays. Like, you have to buy into it, and you can see it on the pitch whether you're doing the physical stuff or the gym work, I suppose.
Most teams have gym group too, like, so they'll go up with a partner or friend or a group, will go up and do their sessions together, and very lucky at the club to have a very good.
You have a good setup
venue
up
and a
there.
good setup to use.
And Shannon, you do a bit of CrossFit then as well.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
About 5 or 6 years.
Right.
So the managers allow me to do my own strength and conditioning, so because I would be training with CrossFit maybe 6 days of the week, so
Right.
I would be doing my own lifts and all my own conditioning and stuff, and I think they allow me to take responsibility for that for myself because I'm physio, so I know when to deload and reload and things like that, so I can manage that.
And when you're doing CrossFit, like, are you doing, like, do you not find it difficult to manage the amount of load that you are doing, like say in a CrossFit session, whenever you have these big training weeks, or will you adapt the sessions, or how does that work?
I tend to be full of energy quite a lot of the time, so I find I need to do it. But like coming up to a big game or whatever, I'll definitely reduce the sessions in a week. But
are you like planning on being competitive in CrossFit, or is it just like you're doing it just out of enjoyment nearly? I'm competitive regardless of what I do, but at the minute, like, Camogie is my first thing, my first sport. So, but eventually, if I finish with Camogie or retire, that I would like to compete a bit more at CrossFit and things. But it's hard to do both of them. So at the moment, Camogie is the priority.
Whatever Shannon is doing off the pitch is obviously working very well.
Yeah.
She's one of the, she's the fittest player on the team.
The
strongest.
Yeah.
I was trying to get some dirt on you in the past couple of days, and I was chatting to a few Slaughtneil people, and I was telling them, and I was like, any good like information? They're like, no, not really. They're all well nice. But Shannon could probably play for the men's team. I was like, right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, she is that strong, but I think it's important that the managers, allow that flexibility within the team. Like, it is a privilege, like not a privilege, but it's good now that we didn't have a guidance, I suppose, on a program like we have this past couple of years. Like, but before that, again, we didn't have strength and conditioning as such. And then that was introduced, and it just like it's good to have that, but it's also good that people also like doing their own things, and people go maybe to a PT and do their own things, but we all know that each other is doing what they're, still trying to improve overall. It's important that you have something there for everybody, but you, like, as a team, you have to have ownership and be able to make decisions as well. Right. Accountability, that you are doing. Yeah.
I think initially some of those might have been a bit intimidated by, going in and lifting weights and things like that, but now it's great over the past few years to see their confidence build and being able to do that. Like even the younger girls and the smaller, more framed girls, you can see their strength in the pitch now. It's unbelievable. So it really carries through for their sport.
In our gym and at home, like at the club, men and women at all the time. Yeah,
I think that's a big thing. Like, I would imagine that's probably why everything's getting more competitive within Derry as well. Camogie ways too. I'd say everything's just taken to another level. Same as football as well, I suppose.
Aye.
Therese, were you, like, I think initially whenever we met, you were doing much gym work at that time, or like how has your kind of journey with gym work been since?
Yeah, I definitely have found myself improve even with my confidence on the pitch as well. Like, I feel as if I can go for more balls. I'm fitter as well. I have more endurance, and I think with like a few games we had extra time. I think that really carried us through as well.
You noticed that? What sort of numbers are you benching these days?
Huh?
What are you benching?
Probably like a 40 kg.
See, this is the point where you just lie about it, because no one's going to be able to check it. 85 for 5, so something like that. Okay.
No, we're all about lightweight but faster now.
Yes.
Light up to the
Power. Yeah. I think as well, whenever you get into training, and like Shannon, you're training 6 days a week, I'm sure like people are probably always saying to you, and probably saying to you because you're training nearly every day, like, it's mad, like, it's so much. And I had this conversation yesterday of, whenever you get into training and the routine of training, it nearly feels weird not to be training every day. But people will look at it from the outside and be like, that's mental, that's too much. But it's weird whenever you get into training. I think that's one thing for girls and stuff as well, nearly be encouraged, like, go easy, don't be doing too much gym work, or don't be doing too much training.
It's a lifestyle too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a big thing. I think exercise is so important that way, like.
It's like, if we weren't playing Camogie, like, there's so many people that are into fitness now, keeping fit and attend classes and cardio class and programs and CrossFit and like, overall, I think
it's just good for your overall well-being, your mental health, physical health, socialising.
And
Definitely.
then Camogie is just like, we obviously choose to play Camogie, so that's just part of our exercise that we do as well.
We
Yeah,
don't see it as a chore or anything, we just get up and do it. Like we've been doing it our whole lives.
yeah, just part of it now. Like, I think, you know, you're in a good position to sort of say, but advice for maybe girls especially, like I think they seem to have a lot of anxiety when you come into the gym for the first time. You know, did you experience that there? Like, you go into the gym and the senior team's training, you are walking in, any tips for maybe getting over that, or is it just a case of you have to bite the bullet and do it? Or
I suppose, like, I would have, like, before I started actually going to the gym, it's just because it's your first time doing the exercises.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's new to you. Anything you go new to, you'll be nervous and anxious about. So it's just about biting the bullet, I suppose, and going for it. And if you are lost or need any help, to be able to ask for it.
Everybody's really friendly in our gym, and everybody's there to give a helping hand.
Aye.
That's a big thing, because I was chatting to ones, they said like in your gym there'll be like the minors will be training, and then there'll be other people in training, like there's just obviously a continual stream of people. Is like that clubhouse just the centre of the world in Slaughtneil, like everything just revolves around you? And like, is that one of the reasons why you think the club itself has been so successful, or like what do you put that down to?
I think it's the mentality of the people in the community. It's just the strive to be better than you were yesterday, and the push and the kind of pushing each other on, the support network and everything that's there. It's, you know, just driving forward, and kind of the heart and
hard work.
It's probably hard to try and explain it to people, like I would imagine.
People are always asking, what's the secret? And I'm like, I don't know. Do you know?
maybe with our success as well, we're treated just as equal as the boys. I think that's a big part in our success as well.
Aye.
I think you see it a lot. I've seen it in Derry, at Owenbeg, where like the treatment of both is not the same. You know, the girls' teams, men's teams will not be the same. I'm sure that's maybe something you have experienced. Are you playing that? Do you play for Derry Camogie or anything? Or
Yeah, we played for Derry.
I last year.
Have you found that to be sort of the case, or?
I suppose at our club level, and people are talking about the one all under the one umbrella at club, you know, under one club, and that there's a big push in that. But I think
county level differs a little bit.
It does.
It's not
it's not
equal
definitely
level.
not at the minute. Although they do talk about it, you know, trying to get it more. Like, it's a professional setup. The county camogie is professional setup, but it's still not to the same standard at all. Like, we were getting dinner maybe after training once a week, like, but I have brothers, so you can compare, you know, and you see brothers that play for the county, and they would be like 3 weeks into training, well, started the National League and all that there, or whatever, coming home with a pile of gear, like no bother. But we at Camogues, for example, had to do a bit of fundraising before there's any mention of gear, and like you do see the difference. Probably more so at the county level, you know, but at the club there's a lot of work going on to try and get people all under the one umbrella.
Does it not frustrate you, or do you kind of just accept it at this point, or?
No, it does. It's still frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, and why should we accept that?
Yeah.
You know,
there's a lot of girls, and like, you know, Slaughtneil's been successful at club level camogie. There's a lot of girls that some of the players in our team are the best in Ireland. They'll not go out and play for the county, and I don't know if that has a reason to do with it, or just because, you know, the standard and, you know, the way you're treated within the club is so good that nobody wants to go out. But you know,
are operating at a higher standard, and you just don't want to drop it then for.
It's not that it's a higher standard, it's just that the respect and
everything that
you have within the team, within the club.
And do you think that's the case in other counties as well, or, you know, is that happening across counties?
I would say that's
in Ulster, maybe. I don't know. Would you say?
Well, like Kilkenny and Galway and all, like, that are up at the senior level, I would say there's no real issues.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It's hard to say like outside your own county, really. But
but you haven't sort of heard other ones sort of say somewhere, or?
Well, just talking more so about being under the one umbrella and amalgamating, you know, the Camogie Association.
Yeah.
You know, there's a big push on for that.
A lot of girls, I think, would feel that the camogie amalgamating with the hurling and the football would be a real stepping stone to promote the sport.
Why is that not happening? Is it just like, I assumed initially that was the case, But what's the reasoning for that?
We were doing a bit of research.
Yeah.
So the Camogie Association
initially wanted their own voice for women, and
because the playing members weren't going to be coming under, women weren't going to be seen as playing members of the GAA, so this is way back at the start.
Right.
So they formed their own association with their own rules and sort of adapted form of hurling, and it was 12-a-side, smaller pitch, and then that was seen as not as entertaining as the main full pitch, you know, more physical. So it was mostly non-contact and on the ground. But obviously things have developed. 15 aside, there's a lot more contact, there's a lot more physicality and fitness and strength and conditioning. So it's moving towards you know,
be more
in line with the hurling, and the rules even this year have changed for the National League.
Right.
Introduced more physicality.
no hand pass goal, no drop hurl, so basically the same hurling rules.
More in line with the hurling rules. So gradually, and that's what the players' voice, I think, have introduced, and you know, have been pushing that.
That's what the girls want. Girls want to just play the same as hurling.
No, you don't want, no need for any difference.
Separation, no.
So that's the trial period at the minute. And then there's at a national level, they are at the committees and all, they're trying to incorporate Denise football and Camogie Association members into the management of the GAA. So I think,
and our fixtures are completely different from the hurling and the football as well. So obviously they've been pulled forward, and the All-Ireland finals were played there in January. We're still waiting around. You know, our semi-final of the All-Ireland was 5 weeks ago, and we have to wait 5 weeks to play the final. The Ulster final was in November, the start of November, and we have to wait to the end of January to play an All-Ireland semi-final. Like, it's very, very difficult to peak and rest and
maintain that, I suppose.
Even maintain mentally, it's the thought of it being such a long grind for a couple of months.
2 years ago, the All-Ireland final was called off because of the snow. So it was put off 2 weeks, and then it was put off another week.
We didn't play it in April, and then we had to play it in Monaghan because Croke Park couldn't hold it for us.
Maybe taking in factors into consideration, we totally should move the final forward. And even last year there was really bad weather conditions.
Snow.
We're playing in the worst time of the year.
The best camogie you should be playing in your life, you're playing in the snow.
The Congress, that all has to go through Congress.
And also the Club All-Ireland Camogie finals don't be televised as well. So in order to watch a game, it has to be streamed online because we're a separate identity from the hurling.
But that's all to do with TV rights and money and sponsorship. We are camogie players and we're flat out playing camogie, but we don't be attending a lot of meetings and on committees. We don't have the time, but you still have to have a voice, I suppose, in some way to get your views across.
It's a weird kind of setup and system, isn't it? Sounds like from the outside that there needs to be a change of some way, anyway. I think even because I had this conversation the other day, the under-20s there got beat there the weekend, and not saying this was the case, but the fact that some of them lads are playing Macquarie football at that time, it's the same in the minors, there's 2 or 3 different competitions all overlapping at the one time, where in any other sport it's right, this is done here, this starts here, this finishes here. Just seems like someone's just just play it in and just throw it all in. It seems like it's the same for yourselves as well. I don't know if it's easier said than done maybe, but it sounds more logical to have things in blocks.
I suppose there's only the senior and intermediate finals are played now on the 1st of March. So that it really only involves 4 teams at that stage. But if any of them players are playing county, and any county players already missing out now in the National League matches, so they are, as you say, crossing over each other. But it was strange because the hurling semi-finals and finals were both finished before our semi-final was even played. Normally ours was the first semi-final club, But it's just looking at the whole overall picture and the fixtures and trying to sort that out. It can't be easy.
Condense the season, you're playing your 2019 championship, now you're playing your All-Ireland 2020. It's just I think a lot of girls on our team would say the same. They'd rather pull it forward and get it played.
I think trying to get some way of making it into just a season where say you have basketball and baseball, they just have a specific time frame, specific season, whereas because you're playing all year.
It's easier said than done. Because I think of the matches that were cancelled last week and the weekend before because of the weather, and then they're trying to condense it, and it's trying to find room, I suppose, for
tough to
matches
do, especially when there's different competitions and stuff. But
But otherwise, we can't wait to play in the first match. It's really exciting.
We are.
Yeah, let's get
Still
back to
in our
that
final.
We're trying to solve the fucking issues of Camogie here. One podcast at a time. Right. So the final, how are you set for it?
We're looking forward to it. We are.
Excited.
Really positive and
Positive vibe around the game,
yeah,
isn't there?
really,
Aye?
yeah.
I suppose training and intensity is good and all, and
For being a team going in for their fourth, hopefully, title, we're a very nervous bunch, you know. Well, we have been a very nervous bunch getting to finals and stuff. You'd think we'd never been in finals before.
Really?
Sometimes the first 5 or 10 minutes, and then it takes us time to settle. But for once, actually, everybody's just, you know, enjoying training, and there's a little less nerves, and you know, everybody's just enjoying the moment, because you have to enjoy the moment, because it's not with you forever. We might not be here again, so.
At this point, do you be like, after a couple of them, is it just turn into a normal game, or now is
No,
it still,
never.
is it different every year?
it's
It
different.
nearly gets worse. Your offer nearly gets worse. Like,
Really?
you don't want to get beat.
No,
I suppose when you're on that run as well, like you don't want to let it slip either.
No.
What's it like running out on the Crook Park?
When it's not snowing, it's alright.
no, it's good. It is.
Yeah,
It's it's a pleasure playing in Club Park. You know, even if you're not running out in front of.
Yeah.
There's never too many at the Club Camogie finals, but and
it
also
is.
We're working on it. As soon as this podcast comes out.
Be there. First
look,
of
it's good. It's amazing to play at the best stadium in Ireland, like, but again, it takes away a wee bit of the. You know, it's nicer sometimes at a smaller pitch where you're able to see your family, you know, watching you, and at the end of the game, if you win, you're able to take over and celebrate with them. So
Is it?
the two cornerbacks, do you think that they're miles apart? You know, you can't hear shouting. You know, it's deadly.
Is it like whenever you're down in the pitch? Because obviously when you watch, everything kind of looks a wee bit tight, but when you're down in the pitch, does it look massive, or do you just kind of even pick up on it
It's
whenever
like
you're
a
playing?
completely different place when you're down on the pitch than if you were sitting up in
Watching.
the stands.
I find it very big. I do find the pitch very big.
Even when you're going to shoot, you maybe like, I don't know, it seems so far away, but it's not really.
Yeah. I
At the
think
end of the day, it's just another pitch.
yeah, so you just.
I suppose after you get over that initial bit of excitement, do you forget about it? Like, do you just
You just have to, from the very
get into
start,
game mode?
try and focus on the warm up. Like, you're working on your touch and getting good touches was building that up before. You don't really, you can't really think that you're going to like you're playing Crook Park. You just it's a pitch and you have to play a match.
It's a game you have to win.
You want to play well, like so.
And the surface is immaculate too. So we've actually been playing on 4G pitches, and it's got our touch up to speed as well. So yeah.
And I was going to say, how do you deal with nerves, like on the week leading up to this here, and whenever you're running out, or do you do anything for it?
I've actually banned my family from talking about it.
You put a ban on?
Good idea.
Yeah, because you are thinking about it all the time,
Yeah.
and then they're so obsessed as well. And I do feel bad because they want to be a part of it as well, but
I think that's what makes me nervous. Other people talking to me
that's
about
it.
it.
Yeah.
But
We're making you really nervous right now.
not really, but like,
Yeah.
because at work, you know, if people know that they play Camogie and then they're asking you all the time, you know, and different people coming in and out all the time, and it's that's what builds nerves within me, you know. But
I know some people maybe stay off social media as well because you're seeing all these posts as well, and it just hypes it up.
you just try and manage it, like just stay focused and do the
Nerves
things
are
that you
good
know.
if you challenge them in the right way.
Yeah,
But
that's it.
I would be of that mindset. I stay away from social media, and my family know not to talk to me about Camogie in the week of the game because I'm doing enough thinking about it. But I think everybody kind of controls it in their own way. You know,
Yeah, you learn
some
it.
people
Sticking to your routine
you have
mostly
to,
probably would be.
yeah, sticking to a routine. Yeah, is right, and suppose getting good sleep on board as well.
And getting your eating, I think probably I would imagine if you have all those boxes ticked off, that definitely helps you feel more prepared as well. Like.
Mentally it helps.
Yeah.
You know that you've done X, Y, and Z.
And you're not worried about bad preparation or anything. Do you have like a typical response now whenever somebody says how you set for the final, or like how you ready? Do you have like a typical response? You say
every time.
excited. I can imagine it's like whenever people ask you, pass me about work, I'm just no, it's good, can't complain. They say it about like 10 times a week. You just get into like a routine of saying the
10
same
times
thing.
a day.
10 times a week. 10 times a week. A day sometimes as well.
Aye.
How's Jim going? Good, can't complain. And then do you put much emphasis on your nutrition? Like, are you like, do you put much care into it, whereas you're not looking?
I probably should maybe eat better after training. I just enjoy a cup of tea and a slice of toast.
Those brownies as well.
And oh yeah, there's this baker's at my work called Rosie's Cakes. There's a wee plug.
Rosie's Cakes getting the shout out.
She'll supply the
So
cupcakes
you're fueling yourself with brownies and cupcakes, Therese?
as long as it's not the opposite works.
If it works, it works.
Change it. I'm a wee bit obsessed with everything I eat. Well, not obsessed. Well, I am.
Just to give you an idea, we landed here and I brought coffees, and Shannon brought out about 10 different flavour drop variations there. So sorry, what were you saying there?
Okay, I've always been very conscious about what I eat, regardless. So I'm plant-based as well.
Right.
So I kind of prep everything.
So plant-based is in vegan plant-based or
Vegetarian.
a vegetarian? Okay.
But I take very little dairy products, so like coconut milk and things like that instead. But I find nutrition's massively important in terms of how you feel about yourself as well. So I would be big into eating, but I'll not change anything this week. I'll just eat as how I have been.
Yeah. So what does a day of eating for plant-based athlete look like?
Oats in the morning. And
Flavour drops?
Flavour drops.
What's the go-to
I
flavour
have
doing
like
that?
4 options. So raspberry, toffee, white chocolate or vanilla. And then I'll have different like seeds and stuff in it. And then I'll have like that fatty yogurt with berries and stuff for lunch. Loads of coffee and loads of snack jack, a rice cake, bit of peanut butter. And then in the evening I'll have like maybe like a vegan Buddha bowl or sweet potato, quinoa, chickpeas. Just depends what I feel like cooking and what's in the cupboard,
And you
it's
don't
all mostly fresh, it's all cooked. I don't really like
feel
it.
better when you eat that as well, like, don't you? Like more veg and stuff. And you don't, like, have you noticed since you've switched to that sort of eating that energy, performance, anything like that has dipped or improved or?
Improved, I think, But I've been eating veggie for about 18 months now, and over the summer I started to introduce meat again, and I just didn't feel like it agreed with me, so I cut it again. I feel much better.
Did you find whenever that Game Changers documentary came out and everyone was like, have you ever thought about going plant-based?
I didn't even watch it, but like I just laugh at people and they're like, I've decided to do veganuary, and what about that there meatless mince? And I'm like, oh god, I don't know what's in that, you know.
That was the worst time. For like 2 or 3 weeks every week, people asking, have you watched Game Changers, have you?
Some of the best athletes. Some of the best athletes in the world are vegan.
Yeah.
I wouldn't force it on anybody, it's just it's worked well for me, you know, on a personal level. And then Mommy and Daddy, they went meat free as well, so it's easy, you know, because we're all having the same meal.
I think the big thing about diet is, and like it's something I tell the people I train, is you have to get whatever diet suits you and works for you. So like you can't just go and say, you know, eating plant-based is bad because this study says this. If it works for you, then it's you know, and it's better than the other one, and that's the way it works for you. It might not work for Therese, might not work for me. I think that's the important thing about diet. You have to figure out what works best and what's most sustainable for you. So yeah, nutrition then, and gym training, and then pitch training. So you're putting in a lot of hours. Is it hard to try and like maintain, you know, social lives, normal lives outside
Absolutely.
of it? You know, your life must just be pretty much in Slaughtneil.
We just see each other and that's it, and work and we get socialised too much, and then we go clean mad again after.
Very healthy habits. That's good.
Binge. Oh.
What do you think? Do you get socialised much? Not really.
Not as other 20-something-year-olds would be doing. You know, like it's.
You miss out on a lot.
You know, like even at this stage with other teams, like, you know, they might be out training, but they're still allowed to be drinking or going out or.
It really does control our weekends. So we've got training on Friday night, and then
Sunday morning.
On a Sunday morning, so that would like restrict you going out on a Saturday.
You're very clever about the training times, you know.
But then there are like over Christmas and like the managers are like,
they allow you a couple nights off over Christmas.
That's very, very controlling, but like it's
worth it.
It's a privilege, exactly.
Yeah,
to be in an All-Ireland final.
It's one of the things.
Way.
If you want to be in a unique situation, you have to do unique things that other people aren't doing.
Well, we make sure and get a nice brunch now on Sunday and things like that, or go to the beach or
a brunch and brownies and.
It depends. You can still socialise, but it just depends what sort of.
It's not. Basically, what we're saying is you don't go out drinking every weekend.
No. I don't drink anyway, but
Ethan doesn't drink.
Do you used to be probably enough for you?
Maybe. I do, yeah, anyway.
But it is definitely altered at the time when you're like you're basically kind of seen as at the top level of our sport, like so
you don't want to. You want to just.
Yeah.
And because you're training all the time, you're tired. You know, you want to go home and sit.
Exactly.
You want to go out.
I think as well, whenever you kind of stop training for a while, you kind of don't miss it for a while. You know, especially like you think on the Saturday night when you're sitting and you're like, Jesus, I'd like to go out tonight, and then you wake up on the Sunday morning feeling great, and maybe training session done, and you're like, I don't know if I missed too much today. Like, does Gareth find it tough whenever like he maybe wants to do something over the weekend, and you have to be like, nah, I've got training tomorrow?
Yeah, that's it. He's gonna be buzzing on us all over.
Yeah.
Until it starts up again.
It starts up in like 2 weeks again. But it must be hard to try and, you know, balance all that there and keep people happy, you know, outside of it, when keeping your own work happy. Like, it's a challenge.
That's it.
Work-life training balance.
Yeah, we really have like the weekends to each other as well.
It must be difficult to have a boyfriend. I just about manage work and CrossFit and Camogie and see my dog.
You don't know about it.
No, we wouldn't know. Like, I don't know how you fit it in, but he must be very understanding.
He's a rock now at this point.
People like that are married in the team too. Like,
you know, we're lucky. We don't have husbands or nothing like that. Or
Wings
babies
and stuff like that. We take on.
Claire McGrath, like I don't know how she does it. Like she's she has a wee baby. He's just turned 1. Like she's just amazing, and she's working as a social worker. She's always at training. She's always in the gym. She's a wee whippet. Like she's just
excuses.
To me, like she's probably the biggest inspiration in our team. She's a family at home, and she's there every night. And
that would be tough. Like that'd be so tough.
Amazing. I don't know how she does it.
Doable. Do you know she proves to every single one of us that it's doable.
You can't make any excuses whenever somebody's doing that there.
Exactly.
I forgot to give you your advertisement for a male athlete to take care of training. How did I forget that? Do you want to make your advertisement now?
This is Shannon Graham.
It's our CVs with things.
Yeah, we need a CV.
You have to go through me to get to her.
Send it through.
We've got one as well, but we're definitely looking for.
We're putting out 2 adverts here for anybody. Has to play hurling of some description.
Not necessarily.
Oh, that's good.
CrossFit maybe.
Do they have to lift more than you?
Definitely not.
They just have to be up the left channel.
We're getting off topic.
Oh, cool.
That'd be a big lift to be there.
Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Your muscle.
Won the final last year. What was that like? You know, how many All-Irelands have you got now then?
That's 3.
Is it like, you probably don't appreciate like that is a pretty unique thing that you just have an All-Ireland just played in Crook Park. Like, how is that? Do you think about that, or is it just normal now?
I don't know. It is amazing. Like we recognise that it's really good. It obviously really fantastic.
I think in like 20 years' time we'll look back and be like, oh my god, that was amazing. We're so like in the hype of it and stuck in the middle of it at the minute.
You don't really appreciate it, I suppose, when you're in the middle of it and the thick of it. Like, but down the line probably.
Do you think it'll be like the people in the club in like 10-15 years time will be saying to all our girls teams like, he's never as good as us? Like, we have that where like 20 years ago, like a team won a couple of dairy championships, and like you're never as good as that. Like it's like back in our day we would have won that there. No. Are you going to be like that in like 10-15 years?
Hopefully not.
We'll check back in 10 years.
It's really when the older club members, you know, get talking to you and like they see it, the success.
People that built the club.
It's you know, makes you appreciate it a lot more.
Well, the younger generation too, you know. Like,
I suppose we've broke that boundary, so the younger people know they can do it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's possible.
There must have been so much work on that Slaughtneil for years before you have even started playing. Like, you know, a lot of background work, because you can't get to where you're at now with just out of luck. Like,
no, there's a lot of things clicking together at the one time. Like there was a lot of work done underage. You know, you have to have the skills to begin with, and then you also have to have the determination, like, and then after that, like management, tactics, you know, like the players coming at the right time, mixture old and young, and like more experienced, and loss, like there was a lot of loss on the pitch, and like all that they're clicking together, and then having things set in place for conditioning, all that there came together like at the right time for us senior players. But it's trying to keep that going and keeping underage structures, you know, well, and plans and whatnot.
And people that had the vision back when nobody believed them as well.
Aye.
I suppose even your daddy Thomas as well had this vision, like this is an amazing bunch and we can win in All Ireland.
For me, it all stems back from when your daddy was taking the team. We were very lucky to get such a talented bunch of players in the one team, and he knew more than anybody that opportunity was never going to come about again. So for me, like that, I've only been playing for Slaughtneil since 2015, in the first year that I played for the team. Like we won Derry, and then we went on to Ulster, and we were beat by Lochgeel, and just I think the feeling that spread through the team that year, we just knew in ourselves that we could do better.
Yeah.
And after that, I think everybody just, like even when we went back to training after that year, we were just like, we're not stopping. There's a
hunger there after that.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I was saying just beforehand I wanted to chat about was like ladies sport and participation. I think one of the big things is, maybe I'm just assuming this here, but like there'll be a certain age, it's like a breaking point where like girls will stop participating in sport or camogie.
My age.
You're retiring now.
I'm 30.
No, I was thinking more like 16, 17.
Oh right, that time when they drop away.
That time.
Stop.
We're not talking about your retirement.
It's very easy, even for boys and girls, like to be dropping away at that time with school exam and different pressures and
trying to get part-time jobs.
I had a big thing too, like, and then
managing all that.
And social life, like as well, like to start going out a lot more and all that there. It's easy for anybody to drop away at that stage.
Yeah.
But I think if you have the support, you know, of your community, and it's more to do with the participation and culture of it and being there, not more so winning, but being part of it as
team
and all that there. You know, you stick at it for a lot longer. You know, if you've good friend group there.
I think obviously it's a different perspective because you have been successful as you're winning, but you know, for maybe someone that's listening that maybe their team isn't that good, they have low numbers and they're thinking about going away, you know, why do you think you should keep playing? Like if you just weren't winning, why would you just be continuing to play every week and put in the effort?
I suppose it gives people identity as well.
Yeah.
Just the love for the sport,
the
way to express yourself through your sport. You know, some people have music and things like that and other talents and can sing. I can't sing. So you play camogie, you go out and you enjoy it. And
I know people would maybe take a break for months if they're doing exams, but really a sport can maybe help you act as a
an escape, get away for an hour or two. I think that's a big thing with sport and exercise. Like I think you need something or something like that to get away from everything, even if it's an hour. Like
exactly, you're not going to come straight home from school and study the whole time.
No.
I don't know anybody that does that, but like maybe people do.
How hard is it for people to get on your team now? You know, like you obviously have your set team. How competitive is it?
It's very competitive.
Super. You seen how dirty I came in this morning after training?
Bogging.
Knocked on the ground a couple of times. So that's how competitive it is.
One of the pleasures, not pleasures, but things that I probably have kept us at the highest level is people pushing all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and I know there's 15 that can only start, and the next 15 are we're always pushing.
We just have a big panel.
We're 26 at the minute.
Really?
And we've lost players. We've lost quite a few players, and it's just amazing we've been able to fill those positions.
Serious numbers, like.
But it's like them players that have left, the next 5-6 players that were always pushing and never
stayed
got the chance.
around the whole time, trained. They're just amazing. The whole panel is amazing, and it's great. There's so much respect within the team. Like you can't believe it. Some days we'll go out and we'll knock lumps out of each other on the pitch, and it's a funny thing because people would say women can be a little bit emotional and take things to heart, but our team's class in that fact that we have so much respect for each other. We'll go out and we'll hit each other hard, and then we'll come off and go for a coffee after training. Yeah. And I think that helps drive the team on and fight. It increases the competition for spaces and for places in the team, you know.
I know my auntie plays for Glenullen, and she says that she would just love her sub bench. Yeah, so that's how good.
Sub bench.
Yeah.
And even now, like going on the final, like we couldn't say we know 15 at the start.
Yeah.
That's how competitive it is.
And it's good to have that number at training too. It makes you know for the match side or the games and the trainings more realistic to the real match.
Yeah.
Higher intensity. Like you're nearly playing 15 on 15. Like well.
It's a big advantage you have, like you just can do that there, because even most probably senior men's football teams in big towns would probably struggle to get real big numbers like that there, right? That's competitive. You know,
well, it helps that there's like this past couple of years there's always been a couple of younger girls coming up
Every year. You've maybe 4 or 5 from the underage come through, and the changes in them is unbelievable. Even when you look at the players that have only come onto our team at the start of the year, you know. Yeah. You'd be so proud of them.
Everything just everything moves on.
It's an older one.
You're the wise. I would say you're the wise head, but for the 40 minutes we've been chatting here, I'm not too sure as this goes on longer. Is it like kind of following your training and your playing ability, but maybe like avoiding the maybe that's harsh for me.
No judgment.
No, this is a judgment-free room. I always finish these here podcasts with a quick fire round. They're never really quick fire, but the questions are short. What's been your best GAA moment? It's a good one.
Probably for me, probably the first All Ireland, and that
First
whole
one?
experience, being out in Crook Park, it was just a great day.
Possibly that, or I don't know. After that All Ireland and the changing room was all.
Oh yeah, the first one's really special.
Oh my god, it was
First one was the best.
Oh my god, it was unreal.
The first one was the best, but I would say for me the best moment was it 2016? We were playing the Ulster final against Luckily not long after Aoife Stadi passed away, and I went to a draw in Armagh, wasn't it?
Armagh.
So we had to play a week later in the replay, and we were down by 3, and Mary Kelly scored a hand pass goal. It was disallowed, and about 2 minutes later we were thinking, what the hell, what can we do? And she scored another one within a couple of minutes.
A wonder goal.
Yeah. Like you couldn't believe it. Like you just felt like really like the present, like it was meant for us, and you just felt the presence of like nearly like Aoife Stadi was there, and it was meant to be. And then from that's when we went on and won our first All Ireland, and now we're going for 4th. For me, that was the best day, and they caught me on camera in tears too. It was terrible photograph. And I don't cry that often, so that was an important moment. I think so.
That's right, that was good too.
And Mary Kelly, she's some crap. Shout out to Mary Kelly. She was some full forward there in the square, and then she produced an All Ireland final. I couldn't believe it. Oh my god. Who buys new boots for Crook Park? She brought out these brand new spanking pair of white dazzling boots and all that for the All Ireland final. Right. I was cringing. I was like, Mary, you're hardly wearing them today. She's like, oh, aye, boys. And she scored another goal in Crook Park with the white boots on.
It was unreal.
It was unreal, aye. So
that sounds pretty good.
Hard to pick. That's hard to pick.
Do you think that was a good one, aye? Yeah.
I think because you're fortunate that you have like moments to choose from. Like there's a lot of other people listening that don't have fucking any moments to choose from in GAA. So that's pretty good. What's the worst moment?
What did you say?
It's a thinker.
I found 2018 Ulster final difficult because I was away after the first All Ireland. I went travelling to New Zealand and then came home before the girls were playing 2 weeks before, 12 days actually before the girls were playing in the Ulster final. That was my choice. I went away and I came back and I wasn't starting or anything on the team. And it was just difficult to watch from the sideline. I came on at the end, but it wasn't much use at all. And it was just difficult just not to be part of that kind of celebration that year. That was difficult for me watching it, but
I don't know. we won the first Dairy Championship 2012, and then the following 2 years we were beaten. In the first round in 2013, I think it was, there was, I don't know, them 2 years where we were beaten in the championship, like, were bad.
We were beat by Coleraine by a good bit. Like, they stuffed us maybe the year before we got to the Ulster final for the first time, so it hasn't really been a straight run.
Yeah,
we've had loads of ups and downs.
Aye.
But it wasn't nice being stuffed off the pitch, definitely.
Yeah. Hardest opponent you've marked?
Do you know what? Some of
our own teammates.
I was going to say
definitely
that,
our own teammates.
That's probably why you are where you are at right now.
I always have to mark Kate McEldowney. And I hate seeing her coming.
Aye. I normally end up marking Tina normally at training, and she's another super fit player and really, really speedy, like, and it's just a nightmare trying to mark her. But
so nearly within the team, like, is the hardest.
Aye.
Well, the opponents are really good too, like, like Burgess Sahara
and Thomastown, some of the
yeah.
Farrell sisters, and that was the first time we went to extra time in one of the All-Ireland semi-finals, so it was a horrible day. So some of the Sarsfield skirters as well, the McGraths are very talented, so it'll be interesting to see if
plenty of tough opponents.
Yeah. The best session after a win?
The best drinking session.
Yes.
Or sorry, celebrating session.
I knew you'd have a good response, Shan.
Oh right, okay. I have a good story for you.
I love stories.
So it was after the Dairy final this year. We went out just after it on a Sunday. Out on the Monday, you kind of just get a few stragglers and that. So, so the plan was to go to Belfast, but the plan often falls through. So we all met in what do you call that pub? Siobhan's husband's. The back door, and we were all drinking away, and I ended up anyway. There was only 5 of us left. We went up to the dugout, and there was nobody else about the place. And the bar woman Una was like, "What are you going to do tonight? Because everywhere's closing early. It's Monday night. I'm not sitting here all night serving you 5." She probably would have though. We were like, "Where are we going to go? Where are we going to go? It's too late to go to Belfast. We'll probably not get in anywhere because we're all full. They'll turn us away." So somebody came up with a suggestion that we go to the Bushtown Hotel on a Monday night. Have you ever heard of it?
I have heard of the Bushtown,
It's not a place for young women to go gallivanting or looking about a Kurt or anything like that there. It's for the older generation that enjoy country music. But anyway, somebody came up with this motto: we'll make our own crack, we'll make our own crack. And I was like, right, fair enough. So we got this taxi to the Bushtown, and I nearly died when into it with book cut chains and desert bits everywhere. So I was like, Christ, make our own crack, what will we do? So I ripped this here like thing off the table. It was like a big kind of, I don't know, what was it? Like a big material cloth, and I wrapped it around my head like a veil. And I was like, right, we'll pretend we're in a hen party. So we went into the place and we were pretending it was my hen party and all. I didn't even have a ring on my finger. We were doing Jaeger bombs all night and having the crack and all. Jiving away and all, and everybody's when's your wedding? I was like, oh, June next year, lovely summer wedding and all. And we had the wildest crack, and it was the 5 of us, but never again. So we call ourselves the famous Bushtown 5.
The Bushtown 5?
Bushtown 5.
Your hen party?
Never have seen in the Bushtown.
And it was a wild crack, but I don't know how the other people there felt about us crashing it, or the dance moves that we were just enjoying the floor. But Jolene Bradley was very, very good, and I have a video that you could upload at some stage onto your page if you want.
We can get that up. Is she doing something athletic in it?
She's very good. She's doing a good stomp.
That's good. That could work.
Stomp.
Best dance move of the night.
That sounds pretty good. That's a random one going to the Bushtown, like.
It was a bit mad. You wouldn't go there now. It's a nice place. You should definitely visit. I think they do a good roast on a Sunday, but I wouldn't be going
go
on
for a carvery,
night.
maybe not for a Monday night.
I'll do nothing before we find the man. I'll tell you that much. I'll go there.
So you didn't get yourself a good farmer up there, no?
No, but they all thought I was getting married, so.
True. You kind of shot yourself in the foot there.
That's right.
Right.
But other than that,
any other good sections?
Just in the hall after Ireland. I was
It was good crack.
real good after the first year. The hall just was like
Aye, but I was last.
Slaughtneil disco all over again. That was
That made you like the Slaughtneil disco. Now I don't know if it's true, but that made you like the richest club in Ireland, or like one of the richest clubs. That was rumor.
Biggest myth.
Is that a myth?
it was like a pound, didn't it?
All I heard is because my brothers and stuff went. There was just fights and underage drinking just flat out.
Aye.
Great crack though, by the sounds of
It
it.
was good. Good fun.
Well, built up our club. No, I'm going to win. I don't know. But anyway,
Sorry,
after
I took you off the
after
tangent
the
there.
Ireland final, when we partied hard in the hall, then it was really good.
Aye, it was good that night in the hall. We haven't been in the hall since.
No.
Really. Maybe that's.
I think those nights whenever like the whole team's there and it's not just that wee clicky is always really good too.
It was really nice there too. We've won Ulster with the hurders as well.
That was
They were
really good, the last-
nights.
No, that's
The
good crack.
most
Yeah.
recent Ulster final we won with the hurders was good crack now, I must
I
say.
can imagine. I think you're probably underselling that a wee bit there.
That's good. We have to give a
We're
good
all
shout out to the dugout because they do
celebrating.
look after us very well. That's the pub in Mahara.
Right,
They
okay.
look after us, so yeah. Well, welcome. I don't know
I'll be
how they
honest,
do it.
whenever you said the dugout earlier, I thought you were actually
Alright.
sitting in the dugout. And I didn't want to bring that up. I was like, what the fuck?
They serve great pints of water.
Great pints of water, I can imagine. And then the last one, advice for anybody, whether it be young, old, life advice, camogie advice, drinking advice, whatever.
Keep her lit.
Keep her lit. That's a good motto to live by.
Advice for younger people. Always practice.
Yeah.
Try and be better than you were yesterday, the day before, you know, in every aspect of your life. How
Yeah.
you speak to people, how you speak to yourself, how you approach your day. You know, you can always fit so much into a day, whether it be your studies, your sports, everything. Just try and take every day as a new opportunity to improve yourself in every way.
Yeah.
Look after yourself.
Look after yourself.
Be kind to yourself too.
Solid advice. Solid
Yeah,
advice.
so good.
Right, we're getting pros here. We've been chatting for nearly an hour now as well. Thanks very much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Not at all.
Oh,
Thank you for
thanks.
asking us.